More is known at this stage, Barbara, about what's happened and the scale of this?
Really, we don't have very much information at this point. It's still quite chaotic and the information is coming out in bits and pieces. We did contact some FBI personnel on the ground who said only that there were multiple casualties and that they believed there had only been one shooter, although that was not confirmed. They could not say anything about a motive at this point. And then piecing together what we can from other reports, it sounds as if this took place in a community called Sutherland Springs, which is about 50 kilometers southeast of San Antonio. Around noon, the person who carried out the attack walked into the church and opened fire, clearly killing and wounding quite a lot of people if the reports are in fact true. But we don't know who the person was or what the motive was. We also understand, as you mentioned, that emergency personnel are coming to the scene now in large numbers. Also helicopters, presumably to take away, to airlift out those who've been injured, since there does sound to be like there's so many casualties. And we do have some response from President Trump, who is in Japan on his foreign trip there, and he has tweeted, "May God be with the people of Sutherland Springs. The FBI and law enforcement are on the scene. I'm monitoring the situation from Japan." So that's about what we know at the moment.
And as we're putting on screen, the gunman reported to have died in the incident, at least as far as reports suggest at this stage.
That is something that's being reported, yes, and it sounds as if in that case there was probably only one attacker, but we don't have more information than that.
OK, Barbara, we're going to stay with those pictures that we're showing our viewers. Barbara Plett-Usher there in Washington. Andy Moore is with me in the studio, following the various different wires and news agencies, Andy, as one does in these situations. What are you gleaning from here?
Well, I can add perhaps a little bit more colour. This is a relatively small church in a rural location near San Antonio. Normally the congregation would only be about 50 or 60 people. So if these reports are accurate, that at least 27 people are dead and more than 20 are injured, that would suggest that nearly everybody who was in the church was injured in some way. There are reports from the US media that this may have been a family dispute of some sort, that the gunman killed members of his own family before turning the gun on other people. But I should emphasize that they are just reports at the moment. That hasn't been confirmed. But as we can see from these television pictures, a very large response by the emergency services, lots of police vehicles, lots of ambulances. The local medical centre has taken a number of casualties. They're not talking about the numbers, but certainly some people were airlifted for medical attention. And this happened about 2 hours ago, perhaps, as we understand it, just as the morning church service was ending. OK. Andy, thank you very much for the time being. Andy Moore there, monitoring events from here, and we'll obviously keep you updated on further developments, because the news wires are bringing more information all the time as to what exactly has gone on in Texas. And I'm just looking again at that Donald Trump tweet that Barbara made reference to. This was, well, he, of course, is touring Asia at the moment, monitoring the situation from Japan, as he points out at the end of that tweet. May God be with the people of Sutherland Springs, Texas. The FBI and law enforcement are on the scene, as we saw confirmation of from those live pictures a moment